Crouch End, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, from the stories of Stephen King. We all must have some memory of being lost all by ourselves at some point. This feeling of abandonment can be quite terrifying. Crouch End is a tale of a young couple who finds themselves isolated in an unknown neighbourhood, and the situation worsens when a blind spot creates a passage to another world. They struggle with strange visions and entities that cross their path as they strive to find their way back to normalcy. Crouch End is an episode of Nightmares and Dreamscapes, an anthology series based on Stephen King's books. This episode, which delves into tales of alternate realities, supernatural occurrences, and ghost towns, keeps one hooked to the screen and is a wild ride. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Crouch End, a ghost town with a secret. The episode opens with shots of an eerie abandoned house, with strange visions foreshadowing the events of the story. As the opening credits roll, a hysterical young lady, Doris Freeman, visits the police station to lodge a complaint about her missing husband, Lonnie Freeman. Their son, Robert, works at the station and hears her story about these strange supernatural events along with his co-worker, Ted Vetter. As Doris relays the events that precede the disappearance, the scene shifts to Doris and Lonnie checking into a hotel in London for their honeymoon. They have a strange encounter with an older couple in the elevator, and then they eventually settle in the room and have lunch together. Over lunch, Lonnie opens a letter from his friend John Squalls, a solicitor who works in London. It appears that he wants the couple to come over for a dinner at a place called Crouch End. They hail a cab to go to Crouch End. The cab driver warns them to stay away from the place and that strangers don't go there. He tells them about a thin spot in Crouch End that connects to a different dimension. Doris starts to get a bad feeling about the place and starts seeing strange visions of strangers. They even drive past a 60 Lost in Underground horror sign, and Doris wonders if this can be a bad sign. As they near their location, Lonnie realizes he has lost his napkin with the address on it. He steps out of the cab to call his friend, while the driver tells Doris that Crouch End was built on a mass grave. It was built on top of a Taiwan, a Druid word that means a place of ritual sacrifice. The driver further tells her that the bodies found in the slaughter tower were still fresh and not decaying, and Doris exclaims that he is making the story up.
Right here in Crouch End.
She steps out of the cab and explores the houses where she sees a cat through a house window. She reaches for it and taps at the window, only to find that the cat has one bloody eye. Horrified, she moves away and goes back to Lonnie as the couple find themselves all alone by themselves with no one around to ask for directions. They walk around the place when two young children make fun of them and run away. The couple continues to hitchhike, and Lonnie insists that they are capable of finding the directions on their own and were not lost. Finally, Doris convinces him to ask for directions at a police station, but they find no one there. The couple starts arguing over the directions, and Doris finds the place creepy and asserts that there is more than what meets the eye. They reconcile and walk around while talking when they hear voices of an old man moaning in pain. Looking around for the source of the noise, they find a burned black hole in the middle of a barren lawn, and Lonnie moves towards it. Doris warns him to stay away and is worried that they have come to the blind spot that they have been warned about. She tells him all the tales that the driver had warned her about, but Lonnie checks the place out anyway. Things go from 0 to 100 very quickly as something attacks Lonnie and he starts screaming for help. Doris tries to make her way to him but is unable to move past the bushes when she once again sees visions of the strangers and cat and the children that she found suspicious earlier. A hand reaches out to her and Lonnie gets thrown out of the bushes with tremendous force. Lost and terrified over these strange events, the couple runs away and look for help when they end up near a direction sign for the slaughter tower. Doris asks Lonnie about being attacked and what happened to him in those moments he was gone, but he refuses to talk about it.
Lonnie, what happened? What was on the other side of the hedge?
Nothing. I don't want to talk about it.
Lonnie, talk to me. Tell me.
Claiming that it's all blank. He tries to change the subject and talks about his missing jacket instead. Doris suggests that they return back to the hotel, while Lonnie still insists on going to dinner and call his friend. However, his phone loses charge and the couple tries to figure a way to the place. Lonnie starts acting strange and asks Doris to not repeat what they had experienced to anyone back at the hotel. He even refuses to go back the way they entered the place and sees a vision of a strange silhouette that freaks them out. Taking an alternate route, Doris reassures him that if this were indeed a thin spot phenomenon, then it has to get over soon and that they have nothing to worry about. They come across a clock tower and make their way across the clearing when a whirlwind of sand swings around them as the children and the cat get sucked into the pit of a hole in the centre of the whirlwind. Doris clutches to a pole while Lonnie seemingly blacks out and sees the same cat and children flash before his eyes. After a while, things return to normal and Lonnie clutches Doris's hand and drags her with him through a tunnel. He asks her to stay together like they promised, and the couple share a brief emotional moment when they hear the sound of cars pass the tunnel. Doris spots a cab, and as she turns to point it to Lonnie, he runs back to the tunnel as if he were not in control over his movements. He insists that he knows the right way to escape and talks Doris into returning to him.
Please, I want to go.
No, Doris.
As she walks across the tunnel, a tall, dark monster obstructs her path and she loses sight of Lonnie, who has seemingly disappeared. Doris sees strange visions and somehow manages to make her way across the tunnel. As she looks for her husband, she runs past the same 60 Lost in Underground Horror sign they had passed earlier, confirming that her hunch was right. Doris runs around the town and comes across the children once again, who seem to know that she has lost her husband. The boy mutters strange incantations, and Doris' vision once again changes as she sees Lonnie smiling at her, happy that she has returned and kept her promise. As he opens his arms wide to reunite with Doris, there is disruption from the ground beneath as a strange creature with 3 tentacles that end in mouths emerges and swallows him whole. On closer look, one can observe that the tale incorporates elements of Lovecraftian horror at many instances. Doris escapes the place and spots an exit from Crouch End. As she makes her way outside, the children try to pull her back, but she manages to escape. Asking an older couple for help, Doris locates the police station and finds Robert, who addresses her as Mom. She relays the incidents from the past few hours and spots a cat in the police station. Robert addresses the cat as Lonnie and informs her that they had found the cat just today. As the episode comes to an end, a terrified Doris looks at the cat and finds it to be the same one-eyed cat from Crouch End. Why you should watch Crouch End. Exploring the supernatural horror genre, Crouch End is a tale full of layers of mysteries, terrifying creatures, and a ghost town that quite literally brings different worlds together. With a runtime of 44 minutes, the episode is well paced and manages to capture the essence of the works of Stephen King. The episode, directed by Mark Haber, does an excellent job of bringing the plot to life, and the actors, special effects, and voice effects all together make for a whole package. If you are a fan of anthology horror, Crouch End makes for a thrilling watch. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.